What are you doing round here? The words sliced through the Sunday morning quiet. Like a cold blade. A pistol barrel caught the pale light. Pointed straight at the man in the burgundy shirt. Holding his newspaper. Daniel Harper didn't flinch. Steam rose gently from his black coffee. He lowered the paper slowly. Hands open, palms visible. I'm just reading the Sunday paper. On my own front step, mate. PC Ryan Caldwell's finger hovered over the trigger. His hand shook, only a fraction. The radio on his stab vest crackled faintly. Ryan didn't know it yet. But he had just made the worst mistake of his life. Drop the paper. Hands where I can see them. Now? The command cut the stillness. The pistol gleamed in the soft autumn sun. Aimed at a man sitting peacefully outside his own home. Daniel didn't move. His coffee sat untouched. Steam still curling. He lowered the newspaper inch by inch. Hands calm and open. I'm literally just reading the paper. On my own doorstep. Ryan's finger edged closer to the trigger. His breathing was short. Sharp. He didn't realize yet that everything he had built was already collapsing. 3 hours earlier. The morning light in Willowmere was golden and forgiving. It spilled across manicured lawns. Shone on polished SUVs and executive saloons. In wide, spotless driveways. On the front step of a handsome Georgian house he had owned for exactly 1 week. Daniel Harper, senior liaison officer with the National Crime Agency, was finally letting himself rest. Cream linen trousers. A soft burgundy shirt. A cafetiere of dark roast on the wrought iron table. The scent of late roses drifted with the coffee. The broadsheet lay open across his lap. The only sound was the rustle of pages. 12 years of night raids. Wiretaps. Courtrooms. And quiet deals in windowless rooms. Here he wasn't Officer Harper. He was just Daniel. A man. Enjoying silence. Until a diesel engine roared and shattered it. A police response car skidded to a halt. Right outside his gate. Engine idling. Like something hunting. The driver's door swung open. PC Ryan Caldwell stepped out. Built like a man who once played rugby. And never quite let it go. Uniform tight across chest and gut. His face was a map of old grievances. Pale eyes that didn't search, they accused. The burgundy shirt. The nice house. The calm posture. Every detail felt like an insult. He slammed the door. And strode across the grass. Hand already on the grip of his holstered Glock. Daniel kept his eyes on the paper. Body relaxed. Every nerve screaming. He had faced down far worse than this. Ryan stopped at the bottom of the steps. His shadow fell across Daniel like damp fog. You live here? It wasn't a question. It was an accusation. Daniel lowered the paper slowly. Met the man's eyes. Steady. Empty of fear. Morning, officer. Everything all right? Ryan's lip curled. I'll ask the questions. I said, do you live here? The aggression was naked. It wasn't about crime. It was about Daniel's presence. In this postcode. Yes. I do. Moved in last week. Ryan grunted. Eyes sliding over the shirt again. We've had burglaries round here lately. People casing houses. Looking for opportunities. The implication landed heavy. You don't belong. You must be trouble. Daniel's voice stayed level. Almost gentle. Is reading a newspaper now illegal? In Willowmere, officer. Rage flickered across Ryan's face. He hated being challenged. Especially by someone who looked like Daniel. I need to see some ID. Daniel didn't move. He knew his rights. Private property. No reasonable suspicion. No obligation. I don't think that's necessary. I'm not doing anything wrong. That was the spark. Ryan's face flushed dark red. You think you're clever? He stepped up onto the porch. You think the rules don't apply to you? Hand snapped to the holster. Leather parted. I said, ID. Now? Daniel folded the newspaper. Set it on the table. Raised both hands, slow, open, peaceful. Officer. You're turning a quiet Sunday morning into something it doesn't need to be. Ryan's voice cracked. I'm escalating. In one fast, ugly motion. He drew the pistol. Black steel caught the light. Barrel straight at Daniel's chest. Drop the paper. Hands where I can see them. Now? Time stopped. The muzzle was a black full stop. In the middle of a calm sentence. Daniel's pulse stayed steady. Years of training. Hostage scenes. Interrogations. He looked past the gun. Into eyes clouded with something ugly. All right. His voice low. Smooth. No sudden moves. You're the one in charge. He offered the illusion of control. A de-escalation gift. Ryan's chest swelled. Damn right I am. Daniel held his gaze. Mind racing through every scenario. Remembering names and faces. That didn't survive mornings like this. One twitch. One wrong interpretation. The sun felt too bright. The air too thick. Sweat slid down his temple. He didn't wipe it. Now? The ID. It's inside. Kitchen counter. Wallet. He would not reach into his pocket. Would not feed the story. Ryan's finger stayed on the trigger. A flicker of doubt, finally, in his eyes. From the passenger side. PC Jamie Patel stepped forward. Younger. Unsure. Ryan. He says he lives here. We could just check the electoral roll. Or run the car plates. Ryan rounded on him. You questioning me now, Patel? But the spell had cracked. Rage now tasted of consequences. Pointing a loaded firearm. At a man on his own property. For refusing to show ID. That was no longer a caution. That was a career ender. With a final snarl. Ryan lowered the pistol. But didn't holster it. We'll be watching you. One wrong move. He backed away. Eyes still locked. Slid into the car. Patel gave Daniel a quick, silent apology. Before climbing in. The car roared off. Leaving tire marks. And broken piece. Daniel stood still for a long moment. Adrenaline arrived late, cold. He took one deep breath. Then another. Didn't touch the coffee. Didn't touch the paper. Walked inside barefoot. Across cool oak floors. Picked up his phone from the kitchen island. Not his boss. Not the IOPC. 3 numbers. 999. The call handler was calm. Professional. Emergency. Which service? Daniel's voice matched hers, calm, precise. I'd like to report an officer. Badge number KY3712. Who just attended my address. At 42, Willowmere Crescent. He just pointed his duty weapon at me while I was sitting on my own front step. Time. Description. Sequence. Word for word. Every syllable recorded. Time-stamped. Permanent. Miles away. Ryan Caldwell typed his log. Suspicious male acting evasively. Non-compliant. Verbal aggression. Refused to identify. Scene cleared without further incident. No gun. No porch. No newspaper. But the 999 call already sat in another system, contradicting every line. Before the ink dried, Daniel stood in his quiet living room, phone still warm in his hand. He made one more call. Sarah. A crisp voice answered on the first ring. Daniel. You're supposed to be on leave. Don't tell me you've found trouble already. Sarah Khan. Senior lawyer in the Crown Prosecution Service's Special Crime Unit. More than a colleague. An anchor. Trouble found me. He told it plain. No drama. Facts only. The stop. The demand. The drawn weapon. Badge number. Sarah listened in silence. When he finished, her voice was ice. Badge KY 3712. Willowmere Division. And you've got a time-stamped 999 call. Filed less than 10 minutes after. Beautiful. That's airtight. He can't dodge the timeline. She was already moving. Keyboard clicking in the background. Ryan Caldwell. 43. 18 years on the job. History of excessive force complaints, all dismissed internally. A couple of stop-and-search accusations settled quietly by the force. They've been protecting him. He felt comfortable, Daniel said. He felt untouchable. Because in his world he is, Sarah replied. That's why we are not staying local. The plan formed fast. Flag it as misconduct in public office. Potential color of law violation. Open a quiet CPS, a IOPC joint inquiry. No sirens. No headlines. Yet. Start with formal requests. Service record. Previous complaints. Bodycam and dashcam footage. Daniel knew the play. You don't kick down doors. You ask politely for the keys. If they hand them over, good. If they stall, better. Obstruction becomes the bigger crime. They'll claim a glitch, Daniel predicted. Let them, Sarah said. A predatory smile in her voice. If they hide the footage, they make themselves part of the conspiracy. 2 days later, the formal request landed on Chief Superintendent Roland Baxter's desk. Hand-delivered by a CPS lawyer in a dark suit. Not a postman. The letter was polite, but backed by statute. Baxter read it twice. He was a survivor, 23 years navigating politics and headlines. This wasn't a complaint. This was a federal-level shark circling his pond. He summoned Ryan to his office. Door closed. Blinds down. Ryan swaggered in, still high on his porch victory. He read the letter. Bravado vanished. It's nothing, he blustered. The guy was mouthy. I put him in his place. He's just sulking. Baxter leaned back. Looked at Ryan like a liability. He didn't file a complaint, Ryan. He triggered an IOPC, a CPS inquiry. The feds don't turn up for mouthy. Who was he? Dunno. Some bloke in a posh shirt acting clever. Baxter sighed. The footage. Is there anything we need to worry about? Ryan's eyes flicked away, just a second. Camera was glitching. File might be corrupted. You know how the old kid is. The oldest lie. Baxter knew it was a lie. Ryan knew it was a lie. Make sure it stays that way, Baxter said. Full diagnostic report. In writing. The official reply went back the next day. Full cooperation promised. Service record attached, redacted version. Regrettably, due to technical malfunction in Unit 37. Video and audio for the specified period irretrievably corrupted. Deepest apologies. In his living room, Daniel read the email Sarah forwarded. He spoke to the empty room. The glitch. They took the bait. On the phone moments later. Sarah's voice was sharp. They are stonewalling. Baxter's protecting his man. Thinks he can bury us in paper. Daniel smiled thinly. He doesn't realize we've changed boards. Exactly. That official glitch claim is now recorded. I'm attaching it to a production order application. Walking it to a judge this afternoon. We are not asking for footage anymore. We are seizing the whole server. Plus 2 years of maintenance logs. The target had shifted. No longer just the video. Now the cover-up. By lying. Baxter and Ryan had turned a misconduct matter into a conspiracy. The warrant landed like a stun grenade. CPS investigators and technicians arrived unannounced. Began forensic imaging of the division's central server. The station felt like a held breath. Whispers in corridors. Eyes on the IT room. The pressure fell heaviest on the weakest link, PC Jamie Patel. He had been quiet since that morning. Distant on patrols. Replaying the porch. The gun. The unnecessary rage. He joined to protect people. Not to watch bullies wear the same uniform. He knew Ryan's report was fiction. Knew the glitch was fiction. Every day he stayed silent. He became part of the lie. The approach was subtle. 2 plainclothes investigators visited his home. Polite. Professional. Questions about procedures. Equipment. But the message underneath. We know you were there. We know what happened. You can be a witness. Or a target. Days later. A sealed envelope from the CPS. Not a summons. A proffer letter. Limited immunity. For truthful testimony. Honest answers wouldn't be used against him. Silence would. Ryan sensed the change. Jamie avoided eye contact in the car. You keep your mouth shut, he growled. It's us against them. That's the only rule. But threats from a cornered man sounded thin. Next to the weight of a CPS investigation. The breaking point came at home. Late night. Kitchen table. His wife Priya watching him. What's happening, Jamie? You haven't been yourself for weeks. The words poured out. The porch. The gun. The lies. The investigators. Priya listened. Face pale. This man, Ryan. His poison. If you protect him. You let the poison reach us. What will you tell our daughter? When she asks what her dad did. That you helped a bully hide. Her words were a mirror. He saw himself clearly. Coward, liar, accomplice. One path led to prison or shame. The other, terrifying, led back to the man he wanted to be. That night, with Priya's hand on his, Jamie Patel picked up his phone and dialed the number on the card. He was done protecting Ryan Caldwell. The blue wall was about to crack. From the inside, The meeting was in a bland conference room at a chain hotel near the motorway. No echoes. No history. Jamie arrived pale. Civilian clothes. Still standing like a cop. Sarah Khan and a senior CPS barrister waited. No theatre. Just water, legal pad, truth. Sarah began gently. PC Patel, thank you for coming. We know this is hard. We just want your account. In your own words. Jamie clasped his hands tight. Knuckles white. Then he spoke. The wall of lies crumbled. He described the quiet morning. The way Ryan targeted the house. The contempt from the first word. The illegal ID demand. Daniel's calm refusal. The sudden explosion of rage. He just snapped, Jamie whispered. There was no threat. The man was just sitting there reading. But Ryan looked at him. And saw something he hated. He pulled his weapon. I thought he was going to shoot him. Right there on his own step. Over nothing. Sarah asked about the report. It was fiction, Jamie admitted. Shame thick in his voice. He told me to back him. Said the camera glitched. Logged it that way. Direct order to falsify. Devastating. But there was more. Sarah had read the file. Jamie. Has this happened before? Have you seen him act this way? With other people? Jamie hesitated. This was the crossing. Not one incident anymore. A pattern. He looked at Sarah's steady eyes. Thought of Priya's words. Yes. Several times. A traffic stop, Asian family. Ryan claimed erratic driving. Dragged the father out in front of his children. Slamming him on the bonnet. Because the man asked why. Complaint buried. Another time. Group of black teenagers in the park. Called them a gang. Searched without cause. It's a pattern. If someone doesn't look right. Or doesn't show him respect. He goes after them. The force knows. They call it proactive policing. Move him around. Pay the settlements. Keep him on the street. He spoke for almost 2 hours. Each story a nail. Not a bad day. A predator using a badge as cover. When he finished, the room was silent. Jamie looked drained, but lighter. Sarah slid a document across. Sworn affidavit. Summary of your testimony. Read it carefully. If it's accurate, sign. You become a protected witness. Jamie read his own words in black ink. End of one life. Beginning of another. His hand barely shook. As he signed. The secret was out. The shadow had a voice. And that voice was now aimed at the entire system that sheltered it. The news of Jamie Patel's statement traveled fast. Formal notification to Chief Baxter's legal team. CPS now had a cooperating insider. Testimony of the incident. And a pattern of abuse. And evidence tampering. The game had changed. Production orders expanded. Grand jury-style inquiries drafted. Baxter was no longer managing a complaint. He was trying to save his entire division. Within days, the warrant was executed. Technicians and investigators seized the server. Catalogued everything. What they found was brutal. Dozens of deleted bodycam files. Ryan and 3 others. Intentionally erased from similar incidents. Ryan Caldwell was suspended without pay. Baxter placed under investigation for misconduct. The Federation quietly withdrew support. The wall collapsed. Ryan sat in a cramped solicitor's office, face ashen under fluorescent light. His duty solicitor, tired, blunt, tapped a pen. They have footage. They have an insider. And you drew on an NCA officer. I'm not sugarcoating this, Ryan. You're looking at serious time. Ryan's hands shook. I didn't know he was NCA. You thought what? A brown man reading a paper on his own step was suspicious. That's the case they'll make. I was protecting the neighborhood. From what? A man drinking coffee. Jamie's testimony says you've done this before. Multiple times. They are building a pattern. What about the Federation? What about the chief? Federation dropped you yesterday. Clear policy breach. Chief's facing his own charges. No one's protecting you. The blue wall had been his fortress. Now it was a cage. And everyone had walked away. What are my options? Fight and lose at trial. Or plead. Cooperate on wider practices. Maybe drop 15 years to 8. Ryan stared at the desk. Either way, his life was finished. The badge that made him untouchable had become the chain around his neck. Chief Baxter's press conference was damage control. But the leak of the bodycam footage was the killing blow. The file arrived anonymously at an investigative journalist's inbox. Within hours, lead story everywhere. By evening, viral. The video was merciless. Chest cam lurching with Ryan's aggressive stride. Golden light. Peaceful porch. Daniel Harper, calm, newspaper in hand. Then the audio. You live here? Daniel's measured reply. The escalation, all Ryan. Demand for ID. Polite refusal. Then the draw. The click of the holster. Gun in frame, Black Spectre aimed at an unarmed man. Patel's nervous voice. Ryan, what are you doing? Ignored. Daniel's hands raised, peaceful. While a loaded pistol pointed at his heart. The public reaction was fury. The glitch lie exposed. Baxter's performance seen as desperate. Hashtags trended. Hashtag justice for Daniel. Hashtag fire Ryan Caldwell. Comments flooded. Not a bad apple. The whole damn tree is rotten. Threatened to kill a man for existing in a nice street. And he's still getting paid. The DA, facing re-election pressure, had no choice. Warrant issued. Charges. Aggravated assault with firearm. Misconduct in public office. Misuse of authority. Perverting the course of justice. The arrest was public. Not at home. Not quietly. 2 independent investigators waited. As Ryan left his suspension hearing, he walked out smug, expecting a slap. Derek Mason. Yeah? You're under arrest. He stared at the warrant. Mind blank. This is a joke. No joke. Handcuffs clicked. He tried to pull away. Big mistake. They spun him, pressed him to the wall. Cuffs bit. You have the right to remain silent. Cameras waited outside. Flashes caught every second of his humiliation. The man who pointed a gun so confidently now bowed in cuffs. From a parked car across the road, Daniel Harper watched. No joy. No triumph. Just finality. He hadn't wanted revenge. He wanted accountability. And, grudgingly, the system had delivered. The trial was short. Brutal. Bodycam footage played on a large screen. Ryan's rage filled the courtroom. Jamie Patel testified. Not just the porch, but the pattern. The jury saw a bully, not a hero. Deliberation, 47 minutes. Guilty. All counts. Sentence, 9 years. A gasp. Daniel sat in the public gallery. Plain grey suit. Invisible. Watched Ryan stand before the judge. Uniform gone, arrogance gone. Only hollow fear left. Marshals led him away. Outside, reporters swarmed. One caught Daniel. "Mr. Harper, how do you feel about the verdict?" He stopped. Turned. "This isn't about me. It's about a system that has to change." Then he walked away. 6 months later. Golden light again spilled across the porch. Same wicker chair. Fresh coffee steaming. Sunday paper open on his lap. The world had shifted. Chief Baxter took early retirement, health reasons. Willowmere division under mandated reform. Bias training. Civilian oversight. Jamie Patel, after resigning, joined the National Crime Agency training program. Daniel wrote the reference himself. Ryan Caldwell served his sentence. 3 counties away. Whether he would change? Unknown. But the system had changed. Even if only a little. Daniel lifted his paper. The silence returned. Not the silence of ignorance. The silence of peace. Hard won. And deeply felt. A neighbor walked past with her dog. Waved. He waved back. Small smile. He had been tested. Not in a war zone, but on his own front step. Faced a very British kind of danger. Quiet hatred wearing a uniform. He answered not with violence, but with patience, strategy, and faith in justice's slow machinery. His fight wasn't to destroy one man. It was to make a flawed system look in the mirror. And sometimes, a small look is the beginning. If you saw injustice, would you stay silent? Or would you be Jamie Patel?